gotta know when to hold on, know when to fall on. Time every robot guy's doing things and stuff, oh yeah.
So, we can definitely say the G1 cartoon was as mad as a weekend with Amanda Bynes and Hunter S. Thompson. From that madness, such memorable episodes emerged, vividly imprinting on our squishy child brains, so much so that they have stuck with us for 40 years. One of the maddest episodes was the Season 2 gem, The Gambler. After encountering an idiot called Bosch in space, our heroic Autobots were captured and paralysed. The only Autobot from the team to escape this fate was Smokescreen. After a wee chat, Smokescreen established that Bosch had a massive gambling problem and needed to sell the Autobots to pay off his sizable debts. Instead of recommending Gamblers Anonymous, Smokescreen showed Bosch that he could cheat like fuck with the piggies. The two then headed off to the Las Vegas of the universe, Monicus, to go and rob some casinos blind, hopefully paying off Bosch's gambling debts and freeing the captured Autobots. It didn't turn out quite like that though. That idiot Bosch used the Autobots as collateral to get a loan from Lord Glycony, a treacherous toad man who really had no intentions of returning the Autobots. Instead, he wanted to use them in his gladiator pit to fight big monster things for cash. Just to let us know how much of a prick he was, Glycony even struck his lizard sex slave Slizardo. Wow, this episode has everything, eh? Smokescreen and Bosch went off to the casino and, thanks to the magic of cheating, managed to get all the Energon chips they'd ever need. Unfortunately, Smokescreen went for one more bet where his cheating device was discovered and they lost everything. It really reminds me of every time that I've went to the casino. Anyway, our heroes went to drown their sorrows and ran into Devcon, the Autobot bounty hunter. Devcon was on Monicus chasing down Astrotrain and the Coneheads. Oh, that's a great name for a band, actually. Anyway, Devcon agreed to help our filthy gamblers get the Autobots back from that prick Glycony. Smokescreen's ingenious plan for this is what his plan for everything always was: pump hunters of toxic smoke out of his exhaust pipe. In the confusion at the arena, Glycony and the Decepticons escaped with the still mindless Autobots. All seemed lost until Slizardo let Smokescreen and Devcon know the Decepticons' location. God bless you, you horrible scaly mutant man. Our heroes then engaged in a firefight with the Decepticons. They managed to get their friends back and sent the Decepticons and Lord Glycony fleeing into space. Devcon was all set in chasing after them and even asked Slizardo to accompany him as a partner. That seems like a nice sentiment, but why did he really take the scaly wee man with him? He's no use in battle and really not much of a conversationalist. Darkly, I believe Devcon took him to be his sex slave. We never saw either of them again, so we'll just never know. You better not fuck with lizard people though, eh? Anyway, let's have a look at some toys. Today we have Earthrise Smokescreen and Legacy Evolution Devcon. What a wee pair of smashers, eh? Let's start with Smokescreen. He's famously one of the G1 Datsun brothers, along with Bluestreak and Prowl. So fittingly, they all share the same mould in the Earthrise line. This is the first time I've experienced the mould, and I have to say, despite a few niggles, I'm very impressed. Smokescreen's head sculpt is an excellent depiction of his G1 self, with his corpse white face and yellow eyebrows contrasting well against the blue of his helmet. His shoulder-mounted guns are a bit of a departure from the cartoon, where they were permanently fused to the side of his dome. Thankfully, there's a bit of separation here, allowing for some good range of movement for our wee fella's head. It would have been cool if the guns were cast in silver, but in this unjust world where Michael Bay is allowed to roam the streets, haunting the dreams of children everywhere, I feel I can let this one go. Smokescreen's upper body is excellent. He's rocking the best uniboob I've ever seen, with an Autobot badge proudly on show amid this gorgeous sea of red and blue with white highlights. His door wings click in at just the right angle, and gives Smokescreen quite a dashing silhouette. His arms have a great level of articulation and have no trouble replicating Hulk Hogan's classic poses. Where Smokescreen suffers is his lower half. He's got nice thick thighs like your mum, but he's got a serious case of hollowitis on the back of his calves. Don't worry though, Hasbro has you covered. The solution? These tiny wee flaps. That's pretty pish. I'd give them a point for trying, but this is a more lackluster job than the Epstein assassination. Also, Smokescreen's calves are made of clear plastic, which gives him a shorter lifespan than Lee Harvey Oswald after the Kennedy assassination. I love the CIA and their crazy covert plots for their lizard overlords' continued world domination. All hail Slizardo. The compromises made with Smokescreen's legs allows him to fold away neatly, becoming the tiny rear of his car alt mode. Out of his moldmates Prowl and Bluestreak, I think Smokescreen's alt mode comes across as the best. This thing is all front end and looks like it would be housing a massive sporty engine under the hood. Smokescreen's colour palette really has a chance to shine here. He's not rocking his original racing number 38, but 80 instead. Is there any significance to this? Maybe, but I can't figure it out. Maybe it's how many snouts he smokes a day. All that toxic smoke has to come from somewhere. Or maybe it's the age of his elderly lover. Yeah, grab that gear stick, Janet. Let's move on to our Autobot bounty hunter, Devcon. This is the very first mainline figure Devcon has received, and Hasbro have done a great job. Devcon is a pretty heavy remold of Studio Series 86 Blur, sharing the engineering of his legs. Pretty much everything else has been redone, which is a nice surprise, as Hasbro is usually as lazy as a big, old, tired, fat cat. Hasbro has really captured Devcon's look from the G1 cartoon. The head sculpt is dead on, with his blue gladiator helmet being adorned with what appears to be an adult sex toy. The rest of Devcon's body is gloriously chunky, with some silver detail and a lovely Autobot badge. Devcon's colour scheme of baby blue and cherry red reminds me very much of classic Captain America, especially his stripy tummy and red boots. So Devcon is for you if you're a fan of freedom, early onset diabetes and high school shootings. Devcon comes with a few accessories. He's got his forearm mounted cannon for blasting Decepticons, and he's got these two red turbine things. They make more sense in alt mode, but you can attach them to his legs for some rocket boot action. Don't do the suggested evil fusion gimmick and put them in the sides of his cannon. That looks like utter dogshite. Like a wee Jimmy with long, dangly, inflamed red balls. There's some great articulation in Devcon. You can really get some good poses with his cannon. Devcon has the usual level of articulation you'd expect from the excellent Legacy line. However, although his head is on a standard ball joint, you can only really get side-to-side movement due to the size and girth of his truly massive helmet. Transformation is quite an easy and enjoyable process. When you're done, you're left with this thing. I mean, it's accurate to the show, but it's pretty much a flat piece of nothing at all. There's no cockpit or windows, making it look less like an actual spaceship and more like a piece of abstract art rich people pretend to like. It kind of reminds me like a sporty version of Scourge's alt mode. Either that or a novelty pen. Yeah, it's closer to a novelty pen, isn't it? I do like how all Devcon's accessories integrate into his alt mode. I've definitely seen way worse than this. Skullgrin is still right up there as the biggest turd of all. Devcon's alt mode is at least accurate to the source material and cohesive, despite its hideousness. So you'll get a pass from me. So, should you get these two wee rascals? Yeah, I like them a lot. When I think of one, I always think of the other due to that mental G1 episode, so they definitely make a nice pair. I just wish Devcon came with a wee Slizardo, so I could give the wee fella a jacket and a pair of trousers to cover his shame. You've been hurt too much, Slizardo, you poor wretched wee thing. Anyway, you guys have a great night. Catch you later. All hail Lizardo. All hail Lizardo. All hail Lizardo.